welcome back. This is the poet Izzy Human with the philosopher Dunamis on this week's episode number 3, Fight for Music. Please be sure to hit that like button on your way in. And if you're new here and you like what you hear, you should definitely consider subscribing on our YouTube and following us on X.
Fightcast is here to empower individuals to live healthier, master finances, pursue their dreams, and inspire others through self-awareness and global impact. Remember, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only, and not financial advice.
Boy. Got an episode for you tonight. We're fighting for music, and we got Corey Drumz in the house, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited for this. But before we get to Corey, let's talk about what music means, Dunamis, and how it's globally impacted for ages. And I know that you were involved with your church there for a little bit. I know not anymore. But how long have you been into music, man?
Goodness, yeah. Well, for me, it goes back years, many years, and definitely the church has had a lot to do with it. I probably started getting excited about music when I was in choir even back in fourth grade. But I remember getting a boom box from my parents in for Christmas one year, and I had a CD, a Pearl Jam CD, and I just remember listening to that thing over and over and over again. And there was a local rock station, 99.5 Kiss, and I remember that I was able to pick that up on that boom box, and yeah, man, it's always been something that connected with me. Whenever I felt whatever certain emotions, it's sort of like something that you could go to, and I could go and listen to, and escape away from other things. And so for me, it's been a spiritual thing. It's been a personal thing, but it's also been really for entertainment and my own personal, edification. I know that on the other hand, Izzy, that this is something that for all those things, it's probably also you're living. This is a craft, something that you've spent time really developing and working on. And so I'd be interested in hearing what got you first interested in the music, and maybe what something you could tell us about that makes music important to you.
Yeah. So from what I recall, my parents telling me when I was a baby, I was always jumping up and down, dancing, always moving, always had a rhythm. I was listening to Crisscross Jump Jump, a lot of LL Cool J, just what they had on. As I got older and really started to be more coherent of the music, I was around 8 years old, and I remember purchasing Linkin Park Hybrid Theory. It was my first physical CD that I ever got, and I fell in love with Chester Bennington and Mike Shinoda's dynamic and the band in its entirety. And I really loved Mike Shinoda. I didn't understand what he was saying at that time, but it sounded very important. And I wanted to be important. I wanted to, and if not be important, sound important. But the one thing that I picked up out of that, even early on, was the being yourself. And although I didn't have a true identity of self, I knew that it was important to be authentic in what you were writing about. That definitely pulled me into a whole mass of different types of music. I was really on the rock end, really heavy as I got older into my adolescence. Was really listening again to a lot of Linkin Park and the evolution of them, a lot of heavier rock, Avenged Sevenfold, listening to Disturbed, Metallica, Seven Dust. The list goes on. A really big '90s alternative rock head. not as heavy, obviously, but that was definitely a lot of my childhood growing up too. 92 Zoo was the radio station. I would wake up out of my sleep if I knew one of my favorite songs was on. And I, even then in school, there were just certain songs, like even now, and I listen to them, Matchbox 20. There's one by them called Bent. I love Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls. Anything by the Goo Goo Dolls is my favorite.
Mhm.
I love listening to Vertical Horizon, Everything, You're a God. Those are just songs that make me feel so good. And the mix of the music for me was I was able to vent about the things that I wasn't happy with and the things that I wanted to change. But on the other side of that too, it was also a way for me to talk about the things that I I loved, and I was able to really discover what passion was. And that drove me a lot to my demise in in a lot of situations. But I learned a lot of lessons, and music has evolved with me. And listening back on a lot of the older works, I can still very much picture myself in the studio during that time, what I was wearing, who I was around, who I was dating, how I was feeling, all of that. And it puts me in that mood. And I knew as an artist that I had a duty to not only be true to myself, but to also be the best person that I can be in conveying a message that could resonate with hundreds, thousands, millions of people. And I had a duty to really be a part of that essence, man. And
Yeah,
definitely didn't take it lightly.
absolutely. And you mentioned to your detriment, and so um, it just has me curious and thinking in terms of the artist. You know, how often is tragedy in art? And we talk about the there's the good and the bad, but how essential is the tragedy to making good art? Is that something that always has to happen?
Initially, when I started making music, I felt that I could only talk about things that made me sad because it was the most prevalent. It's the easiest to think about. It's always the old saying you could do five good things and nobody would remember if you did one bad thing.
Hmm.
Those were those surface thoughts. Being an adolescent, of course, the rebellious side of me thought everything was out to get me. There was no balance, however. There was just, now you're consumed in this, and now you just want to feel like this so that way you can write. And that became very toxic. And that was the demise that I'd mentioned,
Hmm.
where you would make yourself mad on purpose so you could talk about it.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, though, now it seems scripted. And I didn't pick that up until, honestly, just now when I thought about, wow.
Yeah.
Phew. So there was an epiphany. But yeah, man, there's got to be a balance with that, because the tragedy in life when you're writing about it, I personally, as you know, as an artist, I want to be able to express how that makes me feel. But on the other end of that duty that you carry as an artist, you want to be able to outline the silver lining, or at least try to. And at least that's always my goal whenever I approach these things, because I still very much want to show in a symbolic way a level of growth from those tragedies and the process of healing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you know, the healing takes time, and time carries us through seasons. Not to make a weak segue here, but of course we're this would be the Christmas show, and how much of music connects us to certain times, either if at times in our life or times of the year. We're anytime you hear a Christmas song, you instantly imagine that's probably the right time of year to hear it. It's always strange to hear a Christmas song out of season, but what are your feelings on that, and how time connects us through music, and we're connected to time through music?
I love nostalgia. I really do. I love that music is able to capture those moments, and we're able to take the 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes, because there's unity in that. You could think about being around friends that you haven't seen in years, family that you haven't seen in years, people you haven't seen in years, and you may not have a whole lot to talk about. You
Mhm.
guys may just be on 2 completely different journeys, and that's totally okay. But the moment where everyone sits back and they just let the music take over and everybody remembers those times, and it just brings back those great memories of just why you're even there in the first place. I love that music is able to do that for us. I personally love listening to Elvis during Christmas. I remember when I was a child during Christmas, we had the Elvis Presley on the tape cassette while we were opening gifts, and I'll never forget it. A side, B side.
Oh
My
wow.
mom loved Mariah Carey. So when Mariah Carey defrosts, mom is definitely in the building, waiting. I'm sure, probably helping her defrost, letting her know her time has come. So yeah, it's just they're great. They're great memories. They're beautiful memories, and I love that for everybody who experiences that with music, and it makes sense. It really does. It just really, I don't want to get too deep into the science of music, but it's just amazing how certain keys and sounds and instruments can just strike certain waves in your body that just either chill you out or make you want to go steal a stop sign, you know? Anything is music. Anything can be music. Everything is a sound.
Mhm.
And I think who said it best was you too. We are all one sound. We are. And when you really dive into what that means, you can bridge a gap with sound.
Mhm.
And then language becomes something that's much deeper than just what words are. It's what you put into the words. And that's the other thing with music too, is you can have two people that are looking at the exact same writing, and one can be more compelling than the, and it could be a true story. Let's go ahead and simplify that. It is a
Mhm.
true story, but the way that you convey it and how you convince people of the story is how authentic it becomes. So
The
yeah,
song "With a Little Help from My Friends,"
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like there's the Ringo Starr version of that song, if you've heard it. Great
You'll have
song.
to play it for me. You have to play
Okay.
it. Yeah.
We'll do that. We'll have to do that outside of this. Um, but you listen to that version of the song, and it's catchy. It's simple. And then you listen to Joe Cocker's version of that song, which he sang at Woodstock, and
Okay.
they are completely different songs. So that's an example of that, of the exact same music, even arranged a little differently, to be
Yep.
fair, but
Mhm.
delivered with a different sense of emotion. Um, conveys Music can carry and convey everything that the spirit has, right? That can't be put into words. Sort of like what you're saying there. It can be conveyed with music beyond our capability to communicate otherwise, right?
Yeah, it becomes really spiritual. It's like even the sound of silence is musical.
Mm.
There's just a and it's just music and art. It's being in art itself. It just makes you appreciate everything. You know, I feel, and over time as I've gotten older, I've just learned to just appreciate everything for what it is. And it's always nice to just have a nice little theme song in the back of your head as you're looking around and scanning the area. And I've always got No Jumper or Jumper, not No Jumper. That's a freaking podcast. Jumper. I wish you'd step back from that ledge, my friend. I love that. Uh, that's always a good one. Hemorrhage by Fuel. Love them. That was a good one. Gosh, man, there's so many, just so many different soundtracks to my life and life in general.
Hmm.
And it's because of these artists that when I go into making this music and I go into that mode, it just always goes back into how these artists made me feel when I was growing up, and why I'm here and why I'm even paving my own way. They've paved their way. They made me feel this way. They've made millions of people feel this way, and I've always just wanted to do the same.
Yeah, and one of those guys has been an artist in Cardano, maybe just a little longer than you've been in the Cardano space, but not too much longer. We all haven't been here too long. But Corey Drumz, we have him with us right now, and we're going to bring him on and ask him some questions, talk to him about what music means to him. Are you ready to do that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's jump into this.
All right, let's jump in.
All right, so joining us in the Fightcast episode 3, we're looking at our man Corey Drumz. Okay, Corey Drumz and his whole family are running the Explore Banks brand music. We've got the ATM Radio. So, without further ado, Corey Drumz, welcome to Fightcast, and please give us the breakdown. Give us the intro.
So great to have you, man.
What's up, my brothers? How y'all doing, man?
Doing great. Doing great.
All
Life is
right,
good.
all right,
Good.
all right. Well, I'm on, man. You can ask me whatever you want to know, man. I'll let you know where you want to start.
Yeah. So, where? How did it all begin?
Or with me, my beginning started as a kid. So, I mean, I was born into music. My father was head A&R for black music for RCA Records back in the 60s, like early 70s, something like that. And so he always was making music, and he was an artist too, an artist producer. So he was always making music and stuff like that. So you know what I mean. I had that around me. I grew up around a piano with my father was home, and it just came from there. It was like natural. You know what I mean. And in my teen years, hip hop was the blossoming culture, not just the music. But I gravitated toward the hip hop. I used to sing as a younger kid, and I actually turned down a scholarship to go to the School of Performing Arts in Manhattan. I didn't want to sing. They said I could sing. I was that good, but I didn't want to sing. That's not what I wanted to do. And I just decided to rap when I was about 15, and from there I ran with it. You know,
How important? How important was it to establish that identity, going into the music? Because when I first started making music, that was the biggest thing, was like, they always say you got to get comfortable with hearing your voice, and just with how you were going about doing this, because again, this is you, right? And it's like you are music. Do you feel like establishing that identity came naturally, or do you feel like you just over time and I think you naturally iron out kinks over time, but I guess just in the course of it, it was just like, how did you feel? How well you knew yourself going into this?
Well, in the beginning, well, I came up during the early era anyway, so it was a different time. We looked at we attacked it different. Um, One, I came up during the LL era. I looked up to
Yep,
LL. I was big on LL Cool J. I still am. I respect L. We're from the same neighborhood.
100%.
Um, I'm also a big fan of Fuji rap. Um, Huge, huge. These are my goats. The ones that I'm mentioning, these are my goats. Big Daddy Kane. Um, there's another rapper from the hood, from the neighborhood, who you guys might have seen on the internet here and there. He used to be LL's partner. His name was Playboy Mikey D. He's from Laurelton, Queens. Early on, he actually battled Melly Mel at the New Music Seminar. I think it was 1989. And took the heavyweight belt for the rapping and all that. Um, and EPMD. So I came through that era of hip hop, and during that era, there wasn't a problem with, because when I first started rapping, I sounded like LL. They used to call me Little L. You know what I mean? A lot of people in the neighborhood, and that's natural when you first start out something. You idolize somebody, you look up to a certain sound, you wind up teaching yourself first by emulating. We all wanted to be Michael Jordan in the basketball court, right? So we always practiced on the Michael Jordan jersey and all of that. So we always did that. But to your question of how was it about finding my own identity? Back then, like I said, it's different than now. Now, copycatism is a lot more accepted. Back then, you were getting real beef if you sounded like or tried. You know what I mean? It was really, you had to be your own individual in order to survive in general. So it, the whole goal was always to just be different. You know what I mean? Just be different. And my being different was just being me. I have a lot of intricacies in my personality, and they all came out throughout my different um, music personas. Like C Style is a totally different persona than Corey Drumz. They talked about different things, but they talked about those things differently from a different emotion, from a different space. So I learned how to, take those different spaces and create those spaces as those individuals, which became my music artistry.
Okay. And this is gonna sound weird, because when you were talking about LL, when I was a kid, when I was 8 years old, my first album that I got was Linkin Park Hybrid Theory. And I guess it's not weird, but it was the first time that I heard, just like that was really me getting into the music. That's when I said, okay, yeah, I want to make music. And I heard Mike Shinoda rapping and what he was talking about. And it wasn't really until I got into reanimation, and that's when I started to get into Black Thought, and I started to get into Rock Rada, Sean C. Um,
Right.
there was Pharaoh, Evidence, and I started listening to them, and then that's what brought me over to Rakim, and then you get over to Reasonable Doubt, and I started really jumping into, and that's where it really started to go in. And like you said, LL Cool J, and it was funny that you mentioned LL Cool J because I was actually just watching something online the other day, just how iconic LL Cool J is in hip hop, and just man was sick with it. He was cold with it, bro. He was,
Uh,
and
Nobody that could touch that.
nah, nah, man. You really, you really had to come in on some other, like, really did. But at that point, it was like you said, that was LL Cool J. Like, you couldn't go be like LL Cool J at that point. Like, you had to get your own. You know what I mean? And that was, and I somebody had mentioned this earlier in Discord. We were talking about imitation is the best form of flattery, and and there were no games like that. And that was like, nah, dude, get your own. You want to be in this. Like, I'm already here doing this. Like, go get your own, do your thing. And in a way, inadvertently, that was encouraging you to go to really like understand what this means, because nobody else is going to put it on a plate for you to get it. Like, you got to get it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the beauty of it is that I've met LL and spoken to LL and rhymed with LL a couple of times, and as a youngster and all of that, and his cosign to me was like, that was it. I made it. You know what I mean? When LL told me that I was dope, I was one of the dopest MCs he's ever heard. I mean, LL Cool J battled everybody, beat everybody, dissed everybody. He was like the original 50 Cent. Every time he turned around, LL Cool J had beef with somebody. He was battling on records. And the rhyme with LL and him at the end of it tell me how dope of an MC I was, and then give me advice on other occasions when I bumped into him and he would know who I was and stuff like that. To me, that was like I said, that was, to me, that was, I made it, man. My idol told me, and he's only like a year older than me, you know what I'm saying? But back when you're 16 years old, 15 years old, and this dude, this new thing called hip hop is out, and this dude from your neighborhood who's not that much older than you is the dopest MC in the world, that's somebody to look up to, man.
That's some
You know what I'm saying?
inspiration.
For real.
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
is
I
real.
know DMC, I know DMC, I know Jam Master Jay, I know them personally. You know what I mean? Jam Master Jay was my big bro. That was homie, like for real, for real. DMC, he's one that used to come and get me off the block when I would, I mean, be doing things I shouldn't be doing. He would pull up and be like, "Yo, Corey, get in the car, ride around. We go get some beers. He take me to a weed spot. I smoke some weed, and he would tell me that he don't want me on those corners. That I got better. That I should be doing better things, and me and him would rhyme on it. That's how, like, that's how I, hip hop honestly saved me. You know what I mean? It saved my life. It saved my life from being somebody that just went full fledged on street life, because it gave me something else to do. It gave me another way to vent, another way to get my frustrations out. You know what I mean? 'Cause my mother had died when I was 14 years old, and there's a lot going on in life. So, you know what I mean? And without guidance and all that, like I said, my initial was, I'm going to the street. You know what I'm saying? Up until like the age of 14 years old, I was a normal kid. I wasn't no, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna say I was a nerd, but I'm very intelligent. I have a high IQ. You know what I'm saying? I've always had that, but I'm from the hood. Feel me? But I wasn't in the streets like that. I played. I was still a kid. When my mother died,
Yeah.
things changed. So when I went to the streets, the streets could have swallowed me up like it did a lot of my friends. You know what I mean? In different ways.
Yeah.
It could have swallowed me up. I could have been a crackhead. I could have went to jail. I could have got killed. You know what I'm saying? And faithful, none of those things happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I did go to jail before. I mean, I'm not impervious to questions of my actions and nothing like that, but I never fell victim to the streets ever. I was always kind of like half a foot in. I wasn't even the dude that was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was like half a foot in, because I always had this thing called music that people kept saying to me, "Yo, you it, man. You the one." I was the golden child. So, like I said, music saved my life, man. The way I look at it.
Yeah. I can resonate with that. I feel that I was able to, it became therapy for me to really combat what I was looking at in the mirror and finding peace with those things, and really understanding that the music and having that ability and having that talent that was given to me by God, it was something that, yes, is it therapy for me? Yes, but this is also a means to service the people. So what you say in your music is also very critical to all of this, because now you have this light on you to
Absolutely.
service the people. And you've got people that are following you, that are listening you, that are doing all of these things that, idolizing. I say we should do because again, it circles back to, pave your way. I'm just here to give you the tools. I'm trying to give you $1 million worth of game for $9.99, like that type of mentality. And so having that platform is it is very critical, and like what you say in your content too. And I'm very conscious of those things. So I'm like, how can I say this in a, I guess for lack of better words, in a very elegant way, or
Right.
really give it something to have perspective put on it. And I get a lot of that with your music. And I'm just gonna say obviously because it is the epitome of you, man. Honestly, and I definitely want to give you your flowers while you're here, while we're talking, for sure.
I appreciate it.
Yes, man. One
Definitely.
love.
You know what I mean? Like I said, to come from where I came from in the years. I mean, think about it. I've been relevant to this game. However big that relevance is. I've been relevant to this game for 40 years, and I sit back and think about that a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
wow. You
Yeah.
know, I came from the era when there was no digital nothing. It was all. First time I went to the studio, I had to have 2-inch tape. I had to have a quarter. You know what I'm saying? And
Oh.
then I had that. Then it went to that. From there it went to the mini disc. Then from
Hmm.
there it went, to, the whole digital era and all that. And each time it's like I'm pretty much like one of the only people that's able to operate in all of those spaces because I kind of embrace them all. You know what I mean? I'm not one that walks away from technology. My mother was a programmer. My mother was one of the top programmer analysts in the country. She was actually one of the top programmers in the country in from 1978 to 1980, 84. My mother passed in 84. She turned down a presidency for Transamerica Intercorp for programming. They wanted to move to San Francisco. I'm originally from Hollis, Queens, so they wanted her to move to San Francisco. This is about 1980ish. She wound up turning it down. I guess it was, apparently she knew what was going to happen to her, so she didn't want to do that and take me somewhere that was going to be new, and it didn't make sense. But as a kid, I didn't know what was going on. But so my mother was a programmer, so this kind of stuff that we're in now, and all the different technologies, I was already prepared for it. Not even kind of. I remember in like 80, 81, my mother told me, she said, Corey, one day you're not gonna have to go to the store for nothing. You're gonna be able to do everything on a computer. There was no even a personal computer yet. Like I had the first Apple IIc, man. I had the Apple IIc. I had the second computer. The first one was the straight up Apple. I had the Apple IIc. Like, so to come from that era right now, where we at with NFTs and all of that, and to see that world is really really similar to the old school world, even though it's on a digital level. Like I said, I'm fascinated every day with, like, cause I really do have to look back and be like, damn, it's like that's how much time it's been. Because it really doesn't seem that way. You know what I mean? Like my deal on Columbia seems like yesterday, but that was in
Right.
1992. The equivalent. That's the equivalent to when I was growing up. Somebody talking about the fucking 30s and the 20s. You know what I'm saying? So that's to put it in perspective. Like, you know what I mean? I'm from what we would say is the Ray Charles type era. Like, I'm a Ray Charles. You know what I mean?
But really,
Like, so
but really though, I mean, dude, you were doing shows in 2013. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't
really,
doing that.
so it's crazy when you really think about it like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I'm really really appreciative of where I'm at. You know, like a lot of people they like to harbor on the pitfalls of industry, right? Corey, you know what I mean? You lost your deal on Columbia. You was on Wild Pitch. What happened to that? And, you know what I mean? You should have been the big. You should have been. You should have been. But it's like I tell people all the time. I'm exactly what I'm supposed to be.
Right.
Because I didn't go through all of these things. And guess what? We wouldn't be sitting here right now about to be talking about all of the innovations that I'm bringing to blockchain with music. Because I would have just died like a fish out of water, like everybody else would expect. You know what I'm saying? Those things don't matter to me, man. I was never in it for that. I never cared about being the star. It's cool when people. I love the fact that people look at me the way they do and be like, "Yo, you it," and yada yada yada. But that's not what I'm here for. You know what I'm saying? My ego is, I'm cool. I know I'm confident enough. I'm an Aries. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty confident enough to not need yes men and all of that kind of stuff to grease my ego to make me feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My thing is about really, really making an impact, a real one. When I walk off this planet, it ain't gonna be because the industry said it's okay to talk about me or they gave me accolades. It's gonna be
Right.
because Corey Lawrence Banks made sure that the world knows he is here. He existed. He's gonna live forever. And that's
100%.
that's just the way I look at things. I mean, like I said, I'm here to help people. I'm not here to take from people. I don't need people's energy to boost me up and none of that. I'm just here to give my message to the world because I live a life. And my life can, like we said earlier, help somebody else that's going through those things that may have thought they was dealing with it on their own, may not know that they could survive through this kind of stuff, may feel like the weight of life is just too much for them. That's why I'm so introspective on my music, man. That's why I'm like that. My music is my diary. I'm an open book. I ain't got. I'm telling people. I don't need to tell people about all of the great times and yeah, money, 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 money. Because guess what? The majority of the world is broke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
and you've paved the way in the blockchain space as well. You know, not just what you've been doing in hip hop for decades, but what what you've been doing in the Cardano space. If I'd be interested in hearing, you know, how the struggle's different in
Well,
in this space now.
the blockchain. The one thing, 'cause I love the blockchain. I mean, I love it honestly because it takes me back to selling CDs in the parking lot days. You know, tangible items that you can actually make money. But it's a curve because the technology is not commonly used. So the general public doesn't have. I mean, there's access to it, but they don't know that there's access to it, and not all of the access is as user friendly for laymen as we would like it to be, which is going to develop. Um, but I've seen in the 3 years that I've been working on the blockchain with our partners, I've seen tremendous leaps, and a lot of those leaps, honestly and thankfully, came because of things that I told certain people that I needed done. Um, which is really, really dope to me to be in the position that I'm in. Because like I tell people all the time, I'm not a programmer. I have nothing to do with programming. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I can program. I program a drum machine. I can do that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to writing these softwares and things like that, I can't. That's not my game. What I am is I'm the user side. I know how user compatible this stuff is supposed to be, and I know how to make it more user compatible and give it the most functions that most people wouldn't think. Because instead of thinking outside of the box, I don't believe a box even exists. You know. So when I bring these ideas, like the way the book reader that we got on the NFT albums now, when you got the fold outs and all of that, that happened because I told Jimmy that I wanted to do a book. That's how that all started. I said I want to do a book. He said okay, because he was just doing music. That's how our relationship started. I came to him with the TPMF book, and we did that. We created the book reader, and from there we got the rollout for the real album covers to expand on those music NFTs. You know what I mean? Just from an idea, from me saying I need this done. Same thing happened with Endmaker payout for artists for the copyrights. At one time, they were only able to pay out, I think, maybe five different wallets at a time for NFTs. Like say you got 12 people on an NFT to share the copyright. At one time, you couldn't do that. When I did the Assets album, I got 19 artists on that album, and there was no way that I was going to allow that to be. We could only pay 5 of them. So what was done was Endmaker specifically for that because of that album. They expanded the way that payout works, so now you can attach. I think it's unlimited. Truthfully, if it's not, it's a hell of a lot of people. If you got way too many people on this, that's your fault. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that you can do these things now, just simply because I came and said, I need this done, my friend, and they said, okay, we never think about it. Okay, let's make it happen. Because I think of it from the user's aspect, not from a programmer's aspect. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And
and not,
I know how programmers think. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Programmers get caught. They get caught up.
we do. We get caught in the technology of it, and I love, man, when I saw the fact that you had written content. You had the book with the album. You had gosh, you've put out the cinematic. You've got the uh, video content coming too, with your music, and everything that you've done has been innovative and a step forward in new and creative ways that touch the end user. Like you're saying, it's not just about the technology is cool, that's great, but it's what it actually meant and how it affected the end product. Before we wrap up, I just wanted to give you a chance and ask also, I know you've got some projects coming up. Could you share that with us, so that we can share that with our audience too?
Definitely, definitely. We have the like last year we released well this year actually the beginning of the year we released our first Assets album, which is a compilation album on the anniversary of the ATM Radio, the 1 year anniversary, January 1st. So we have Volume 2 coming out this year, 2025, with another group of artists. And so we have that Assets Volume 2 coming out on January 21st as an NFT, obviously. Right now, we're in between distributors. We're negotiating with 3 different distributors right now to put our music back into the streaming system. But like I said, I want people to buy the NFT at the end of the day. And NFTs are going to have some extra goodies as you. You're going to want the NFT anyway. Also, I have a project of my own, a solo project. What Made Me? This EP that I'm dropping. Um, I don't have a set date for that, but I will announce it. I haven't even told anybody else about it yet, so y'all got it first, all right?
Hey,
So yeah, I'm dropping that in the beginning of the year as well. But I'm trying to work things around the Assets release date. I don't want anything to interfere. I don't want any dates to interfere with each other. So I'm
for
just
sure.
figuring what
Well,
dates
you
would make
guys got
sense
to
for that.
follow Corey Drumz 963 on X to get that information. Then we'll be sure to link your socials as well.
Absolutely, definitely. Like you said, follow me on Corey Drumz. That's COREYDRUMZ. I know a lot of people spell Corey CORY, but I hate that, especially when they're looking right at my name while they're typing it.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
please, please, COREYDRUMZ. CoryDrumz963 on X. On Instagram, it's a little bit more tricky because it's Corey Drumz Universal, but instead of a N for universe, I have a 9. All right, so that's how you find me on Instagram, and anywhere else you can just Google me. I'm all over the place, man. You might catch me in your inbox if you mess with me too much. You feel me?
Oh yeah.
Yes, wonderful. Well, thank you for coming in, Corey, man. Again, give you your flowers now. Y'all, there's going to be a lot more coming from Corey Drumz, as you very well know. Dunamis, Fightcast. It's always been a pleasure. Everybody enjoy the rest of the evening. And let's just keep impacting the world.
Thank you so much, Corey, for having us.
Real quick plug. Make sure everybody visits BBMUnlimited.com to get all of our NFT releases. We have singles, we have albums, we have EPs. We also have special, super special limited editions. These are all gonna be valued. I have first evers. I'm one of the people that's doing a lot of things first in the NFT space. So getting my NFTs releases now is really, really one of the best investments you're going to make for the future in your finances, honestly, on the resale value, because it's going to be nuts.
Awesome, man. Well, Corey, it's an honor, man. I love that you took the time, and thank you so much for coming and speaking with us today. And your passion for music really shines through, and I've been a big fan for a long time. You know that, man. And thank you so much, brother, for coming.
Thank you, my brothers. I appreciate you guys, man.
Awesome. Bye.
Wow. That was a great interview.
It was.
Whew. And to all the artists out there, I hope that this is a testament to just never give up. I know that might sound cliche, but never give up, because you never know who you're going to run into. And hard work really does pay off. I promise you it does. So I hope that this found you. But with all that being said, Corey Drumz, you the man. Keep grinding. Phenomenal. And if any of you guys disagree about anything that I'm saying right now, you can find me in the comments. And I got to do this. If you haven't yet, hit that like button. Tell your friends. Spread the word.
Yes. And drop a crown emoji in the comments to let us know you made it to the end. Stay safe out there and never give up the fight.
Could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, you check as I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, that's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill, no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they're scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me. So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world, change times, rearrange them. Staying on pace, running the race. Life is a chase, I don't want a place, I wanna be first. Work till it hurts, dehydrated thirst till I'm in a hearse. High high ambitions and the right mind can take you so far. It's like you lived a few lifetimes. Take off from a break off from the weak minds. They can stay soft. You can change lives. You create thoughts. Never waste time. You got one shot. You got one life. Better pop off. What do you like? Make a dream job. No 9-5. No mean boss. Just my life and free thoughts.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way. What I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free